Alright, hi guys, welcome to this week's video. I am going to do the first time tag. Now, you may or may not know if you have watched all my videos or have looked through my previous video list that I have got a video of the same name. And that is why it's called the updated first time tag. That is because I've already done this tag before, but this is an updated version with different questions. Hence why I am redoing it again. Now also, I apologise for the really dodgy lighting. I have a really green lampshade, like literally just there, which makes me look a bit green, and my lampshade up there is green as well. And I have one over there, just over there as well, which is also green. So the lighting's a bit weird, and also I'm reading the questions off my Mac, and so I apologise for any weird glares through my glasses. That's the issue of being a glasses wearer and making videos when you can see it through the lens. So anyway, let me get on with the tag. So, do you still talk to your first love? I have never really been in love, but I've talked to my first boyfriend, I guess. I still talk to him. Not very occasionally, but every now and again. But I wouldn't really call him my boyfriend either, or love. What was your first job? I think it was working in Hubbard's, this little shop near where I live, over the Christmas period a couple of years ago. What was your first car? It is my current car, my beautiful little Renault Clio. Who was the first person who texted you today? I have a feeling it was Marcia or Kelsey, but they are on two different platforms. One's on WhatsApp, one's on iMessage. I can't bother to go back through and check the timings for each one, but they were around about the same time. Who's the first person you thought of this morning? I thought of, I think it was my dad, because he was making a lot of noise outside my room, because we have really creaky floorboards in the corridor, and he was painting this morning and he was just making a lot of racket, so I woke up to that and I was quite annoyed. Who was your first grade teacher? Oh my gosh, I am going to find that out. Mrs. Daniels. Mrs. Daniels was my teacher, but she remarried and I can't remember what her name is now, but it says here Mrs. Daniels. And shall I read you something from my report? I'm actually going to make a whole video of this eventually, of me reading my school reports. Katie has settled into school very happily. She recognises some of the letter and characters covered so far and has made a start with reading skills. Her pencil control is quite strong and she can write over a sentence unneeded. She enjoys working and tries hard to produce neat work. Her practical counting is good. She can recognise some numbers and enjoys number games we play. Casey is a happy little girl who eagerly joins in all class activities. Yes, I'm actually going to make a school series of me doing my report from every single year. Where did you go on your first airplane ride? I was less than a year old and we went to Portugal, and that's funny really. I went to Portugal and I was still a little baby. I think I was about 9 months. Who was your first best friend and do you still talk to him or her? My first best friend was Rosie, and she moved to New Zealand in about 2000 to 2001ish. I'm pretty certain, around that time of the year, around that time period. And I talk to her every now and again. We keep in contact on Facebook and Instagram. Where was your first sleepover? I'm fairly certain my first sleepover was at Rosie's. Who was the first person you talked to today? My dad. Whose wedding were you in for the first time? I think I can't remember. I've been a bridesmaid twice, and I can't remember if my cousin Nikki, with her first marriage, was my first bridesmaid, period, or it was with my cousin Joe, because I was a bridesmaid around that time period about twice. I still got the dresses, really weirdly enough. I'm not too sure why, because I don't really fit in them anymore. What was the first thing you did this morning? I have a feeling the first thing I did this morning was go on my phone, and I checked out Twitter and Instagram and Tumblr. I always do this, like I stay in bed looking at social network stuff, and then I realise what the time is, and oh, I should probably get up now. So that is what I did. What was the first concert you ever went to? Robbie Williams at Milton Keynes Bowl, and I think I was about 9 or 10. And I went with my cousin and my parents. First broken bone. I have never broken a bone, but I have broken my teeth, and I have found out that teeth are not bones, so that does not count. First piercing were my ears the first time around. I've only got 2 piercings now though. First foreign country, Portugal. First movie you remember seeing in the theatres? I have a feeling it was Anastasia. Yeah, I think it was the first film I saw, and I'm pretty certain I saw it. Why do I have a feeling I saw it on a ferry? I'm not too sure why, but there was a cinema on a ferry, and I seem to remember going to watch it on the ferry. I don't know. When was your first detention? I think it was in my first school when I was in Sharmandine. They called it 4th form, which would have been, well, what year would it have been? They called these years at my first school really weirdly years, and I can never remember them. But I think that would have been year 5, with I was sent from Mrs. Oh, who was it? It was with the witch teacher that I didn't like. But she sent me out to Mrs. Tyers. Who was your first roommate? I've never had a roommate, but I guess I've had flatmates who I was with at university, and my first flatmates were Taylor, John, Alan, and the other bloke who I always forget because he never really talked to us. What is his name? I can't remember. That's really bad. It was only 3 years ago. What was the first lesson you ever took? How am I going to remember that? I'm fairly certain it was probably just letters and writing. It was probably writing lessons or something. I mean, I took piano lessons. They were quite an early thing. I think I started them in I think I started them in primary school. Yeah, I must have been about 5 or 6 when I first started playing piano. Yeah, and then I continued that up until I was about 14. So about 10 years. I played piano for 10 years. Who was the first beauty-related person you watched on YouTube? Juicy Star 07? Is that her name? Which one? Is it her name? Juicy Star? Juicy Star? No. My internet's gone down, so I can't even look it up. Let me look up on my phone. Why has my internet gone down, guys? Guys. Oh. Yeah, Juicy Star 07. That's what it's telling me here. Yeah. One of those. Blair Fowler, in other words. She was my first one, I'm pretty certain. I'm not too sure why I followed her first, but I did. And I was quite obsessed with her for a while. I think I found her through the Shaytards. I think they happened to talk about her in one video or something, I'm not too sure. But she was quite popular back then, so that was about 4 or 5 years ago. And it's only been this year that I've actually followed other beauty related video people. And yeah, that is the updated version of my first time tag. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, I shall see you guys next week. Bye!